It is Thursday afternoon. Two project managers are about to have the hardest conversation of their professional year. The first opens his laptop at 4:45. He sends a calendar invite. Quick sync, 5 p.m. today. No context. His team member joins the call to find him already on with HR documents visible on his screen share. He reads from a prepared statement without making eye contact. He tells her that her role is being eliminated. He thanks her for her service. He ends the call in 11 minutes. She spends the rest of that evening in a fog, replaying every conversation from the past month, wondering if she said something wrong. The second project manager has been preparing since Monday. On Thursday morning, she sends a message. I need to meet with you today. It is important and I want to give you my full attention. Can we speak at 2 p.m.? She tells her team member directly what is happening and why. She acknowledges her own difficulty with the decision. She gives her time to react. She explains every support resource available. She ends by asking what she needs right now. Her team member leaves the call devastated. Losing a job is always devastating. But she leaves feeling seen, respected, supported by someone who clearly cared about more than the 11-minute efficiency of the process. Same news. Same outcome for the employment status. Completely different experience of dignity. A completely different signal sent to every person watching how this organization behaves when things get hard. People remember how they were treated in their most vulnerable professional moment for the rest of their careers. Welcome back to The Catalyst. This is episode 7. Today, how to handle a layoff when you are the one delivering the news. What the research tells us about what works, what does not, and what the cost of getting it wrong actually is. Almost every guide on layoffs focuses on the person receiving the news. This one starts with the person giving it. Because what happens inside the deliverer profoundly shapes the quality of the conversation. Most leaders required to deliver layoff news experience what organizational psychologists call moral distress. The experience of being required to act in a way that conflicts with personal values. They did not make this decision. They may not agree with it, but they must execute it. In the days before, most experience anticipatory anxiety, difficulty sleeping, rehearsing the conversation repeatedly, persistent dread. They feel guilty even when they had no role in the decision. They fear the reaction, tears, anger, silence, because they do not know how to respond. 3 things leaders need before this conversation. First, complete clarity. Know the severance package, the notice period, the benefits continuation, the outplacement support, and what you can and cannot say. Every detail before you sit down. Uncertainty in the deliverer creates terror in the recipient. If you cannot answer, what does this mean for me? The person is left in free fall at the worst moment of their professional life. Second, emotional preparation. Not the suppression of feeling, the acknowledgement of it. A leader who has processed their own discomfort before the conversation is far better equipped to hold space for the other person's reaction than one managing their own emotions in real time. It is okay to feel the weight of this. Third, support for yourself afterwards. Leaders who deliver layoff news repeatedly without debriefing are at genuine risk of compassion fatigue. The person delivering difficult news needs somewhere to process it when they are done. Not all layoffs are the same. 2 fundamentally different types require different language, different framing, and different documentation. The first is the budget-driven or restructuring layoff. The role is being eliminated, not the person. The primary message is, this is about the organization, not about you. That must be said clearly, specifically, and early, because the person's first instinct will be to search for what they did wrong. The second is the performance-based roll-off. The person has typically been through prior feedback, improvement plans, coaching, usually less surprised, but often more wounded. The conversation acknowledges a mismatch between the role's requirements and where the person currently is. The key word is mismatch, not failure, not inadequacy, mismatch. And the history must be documented before the conversation takes place. One rule applies to both. Never have a layoff conversation without prior HR sign-off. Not as a bureaucratic formality, as a genuine safeguard. The legal landscape around redundancy, wrongful dismissal, and consultation obligations varies by country and can expose everyone involved to significant risk if not followed correctly. Preparation is where the outcome is largely determined. Know these 5 things cold before you sit down. What the severance package includes, every detail, so you can answer any question without hesitation. How the work will be redistributed, you will be asked, and we have not figured that out yet. Signals that the person's contribution is already being treated as a logistics problem. What the legal obligations are, notice period, final pay timing, system access protocol. What support is available, outplacement services, reference letters, career transition resources. And your opening sentence, not a full script, but a clear starting point that acknowledges the gravity of the moment before you deliver the news. Tell them what is happening within the first 2 minutes. Do not build up slowly. The person can sense something is wrong the moment the conversation starts. The conversation has 5 parts. Open with respect. Not a pleasantry, a genuine acknowledgement. I want to start by saying that this is one of the hardest conversations I have had to have, and I want to give it the seriousness it deserves. State the news clearly and early. I have to tell you that your role is being eliminated. Not, we are going to have to let you go. Too casual. Not, the organization has decided to release your position. Too corporate. Clear, direct, human. And if it is a restructuring, I want to be completely clear. This has nothing to do with your performance. This is about the business situation we are facing. Explain the why briefly and honestly. 1 to 2 sentences on the business reason. Be honest about what you can share and clear about what you cannot. Do not over-justify. It reads as defensiveness and shifts focus from the person to you. Create space for reaction. Stop talking. Give them time to process. This is where most managers go wrong. They fill the silence because silence is uncomfortable for them. It is necessary. If they become emotional, acknowledge it without trying to fix it. Take all the time you need. Close with practical support and genuine human respect. Walk through severance, benefits, references, outplacement. Ask what they need. Confirm the follow-up. And end with something real. Not a corporate close, but a genuine human moment. The relationship does not end in this meeting. How you treat them in these final minutes is what they will carry forward. The 2022 and 2023 technology sector layoffs gave the world a masterclass in how not to conduct remote layoffs, and at least one example of how to do it well. A mortgage company CEO laid off 900 employees via a 3-minute Zoom call. A major technology company notified 12,000 employees via email at 3 in the morning. Another revoked thousands of employees' system access before any conversation took place. These became global news. They generated legal challenges. They damaged employer brands that took years to recover. And they sent a message the professional world heard clearly. Efficiency matters more than dignity. Contrast that with Airbnb in 2020. Facing one of the largest pandemic-era workforce reductions, CEO Brian Chesky published a detailed, personal, empathetic letter to the entire company before individual conversations took place. He acknowledged that leadership had made mistakes. He guaranteed 14 weeks of severance. He let departing employees keep their laptops. He created a public talent directory to help them find new roles. Despite laying off 25% of its workforce, Airbnb's employer reputation strengthened. When the company went public 6 months later, many former employees publicly supported them. Remote layoff protocols are not complicated. Use video. Always. Never email as the primary notification. Schedule at a reasonable time for the employee's time zone. Do not revoke system access before or during the conversation. Have HR available for immediate follow-up. Send a written summary within 1 hour. When organizations calculate the cost of layoffs, they focus on severance, legal fees, and eventual rehiring. What they consistently underestimate, and what research shows is often the largest cost, is what happens to the people who remain. It has a name: survivor syndrome. And it is one of the most documented, most underestimated phenomena in organizational life. Survivors experience guilt. Why did I stay when they did not? This reduces initiative and risk-taking. They experience anxiety, will I be next? Which occupies cognitive space that should be going to the work. And their commitment to the organization drops. Wayne Cascio's long-term research found that companies that reduced their workforce did not, on average, see the profitability improvements they expected. The productivity loss among survivors, combined with institutional knowledge carried away by those who left, often offset or exceeded the cost savings. Gallup research shows that employees who witnessed colleagues being laid off poorly show measurable reductions in engagement and trust for up to 18 months. What this means for project managers. How you handle the people who leave determines the performance of the people who stay. The two are inseparable. Address the remaining team within 24 hours. Acknowledge the loss explicitly, not just the operational change, but the human one. Be honest about what you know and transparent about what you do not. Address workload immediately and concretely. And in the 30 to 90 days following, watch for secondary attrition, the window when survivors already considering leaving are most likely to act. The recovery arc after a layoff is predictable. Understanding it lets you actively shorten it. In the first week, shock and uncertainty. Productivity drops. Be visible, present, communicating. Do not disappear. In weeks 2 through 4, grief and recalibration. Team members are reassessing whether this is still where they want to be. One-on-one check-ins, genuine workload review, specific appreciation of the people showing up. In weeks 4 through 8, the team begins finding a new rhythm. Set clear near-term goals. Create early wins. Reconnect to purpose. From months 2 through 6, cautious stability returns. Have genuine conversations with key contributors about what they need to stay engaged and see a future here. The organization that invests in its people after a layoff is the organization whose performance recovers first. If you are in a leadership position today, whether or not a layoff is on the horizon, take 15 minutes this week and think about how your organization handles difficult exits. Does the process reflect the values you want to be known for? If the answer is not a confident yes, that is a conversation worth having before the situation forces it. Every person being laid off will remember how they were treated in that room for the rest of their professional life. Make sure that memory reflects the leader you are choosing to be. Coming up next on The Catalyst, we continue building the leadership toolkit that helps you show up with clarity, integrity, and genuine care in the moments that define your career. Stay with us.